Hello, Dave here for an Omni Cubed Pro overview. Today I want to take a really practical look at how your install crew can integrate the Pro Lift Automatic into their daily workflow. Now, you know, at the shop you've got cranes and forklifts and slab lifters, but the question is, what about at the job site? How do you get these huge pieces unloaded down onto the truck and safely installed? Now, I know every crew handles stone a little differently, and every piece and every material has its own special considerations. So I couldn't even begin to tell you how to handle your stone in your situation. But what I would like to do is talk you through a few scenarios to explain the general principles of how to use the Pro Lift to unload your truck. So first, what I'll show you is how to unload with 2 people. Second, some hazards to watch out for. And third, how to use this with 3 people. Now, let's face it, moving heavy stone is intrinsically dangerous, and the most important thing for you and your crew is to be safe. So remember, when using the Pro Lift, always be alert. Always follow the standard safety procedures from your employer and your state. Always assess your material strength and integrity, and use the appropriate stone reinforcement. Always perform a scene assessment for any hazards that might be in the path of movement before you begin the lift. And always use proper lifting techniques. Never ever stand in the fall shadow, and remember to be in constant communication with your lift partners. You need to speak up because safety is the responsibility of everyone on site. Alrighty, here's Nick and Merv. They're going to show us how to unload a fairly decent sized island out of the back of their truck. You'll notice in the background on the A-frame, they've already removed all the A-frame uprights except for that one. It's just on there loose, so keep in mind it's not holding anything real securely, but it does give them a little extra safety since there's only 2 of them. Nick is back up in the truck, and the 2 of them are going to work together to slide out the slab. Now they only need to slide it out a little bit here, so Merv has access to put on a pair of aqua jaws. And this is going to be really helpful for him later because it's going to provide a handhold exactly where he needs it. The other reason they've slid it out just a little bit is so that they can get the Pro Lift up under the edge of the stone. Okay, so Merv is going to raise the lift platform up until he takes the weight of the stone off the truck. By removing the weight, they've also removed the friction, and so now they can really easily slide this slab out. Now ideally I'd like to see Nick up in the truck have the remote. That way Merv's attention can be focused solely on handling the stone down there on the ground. They've still got that one upright on, and most of the weight is still in the truck. They've slid it out just beyond the center of mass of the stone, and now Nick can get down and go wide around outside the fall shadow and getting back there. Now I want to show you that again. Nick has to stay wide outside the fall shadow. The fall shadow is this area here where if something unexpected happens, the slab might fall. Now, Merv can plant his feet, lock his arms, lift with his legs, while Nick repositions the Pro Lift under the center of mass. And while Nick's back here, he's safe because he's behind the A-frame over here. See, the A-frame's mass is shielding him and protecting him from the slab falling in that direction. When he comes back, he also needs to stay wide. And when he gets back over here by the truck, he's going to tuck himself in behind the edge of the truck, actually using the truck as cover, right? So he's back behind the edge of the slab. They're going to move the slab out, and once it's out beyond the edge of the truck, they can begin to lower that down, right? They're both on the ends, where they're outside of the fall shadow, where they can both help steady it. They're going to bring it down nice and easy. I've actually sped this up a little bit for time's sake. Once it gets down to the ground, they're going to lock in the piece to the Pro Lift with this material clamp. And since they already have aqua jaws on, they can use those aqua jaws to steer, pop up that curb, go around corners. They can even use the aqua jaws to carry the whole thing because the Pro Lift is only adding 74 pounds to that slab. Now I do want to show you what this would look like with a 3-man crew, but first let's take a look at a few hazards you should work to avoid. Here we've got an installer standing accidentally in the fall shadow. That slab has been moved out beyond the A-frame, and the A-frame is no longer protecting him. Thankfully, he moves back into safety. You notice that they're bringing the slab down crooked because the Pro Lift is not under the center of mass. You always need this Pro Lift centered under the center of mass. That might be a little tricky for an L shape, so you might want to do a test pick to see where that center is and even mark that in advance for your crew. Another thing that they're about to do right here is try to move the Pro Lift before the stone is secured. This is extremely dangerous and puts a lot of stress on the Pro Lift. Right? If you were at the gym, you would never do a deadlift and try to twist or turn in the middle of it, right? And blow out your back. It's the same thing here. You can't move with a slab until it's locked in and secured on the Pro Lift. The other thing that they're doing awkward here is they got the aqua jaws on way too low, so they don't have any kind of leverage to steer very easily, right? All right, moving on. Here we have our 3-man crew. Now, as you watch this, take note. they are going to use basically all the same techniques as our two-man crew to safely unload this slab. They still have on that one upright to give them a little peace of mind. They're getting the Pro Lift under first. Then they're going to get that remote up to the guy in the truck so he can see what's going on and control the Pro Lift. And then last, they're going to get on those aqua jaws. This is exactly how I like to see it done. Now, you've probably noticed that the lift platform is narrow. This is intentional to force your crew to have the slab centered. When it's centered, it's balanced, and that's the safest place. If it's off-center, the whole rig is out of balance, and that's a huge risk. See, now that third guy, he's able to stay safely behind the A-frame, and then when needed, reposition the Pro Lift. All right, now Nick can get down. He's going to stay back outside of the fall shadow, and he's going to raise the lift platform to take the weight of the stone off the truck. Now all the weight is on the Pro Lift, and they can easily roll that right out. You couldn't see that very well when it was just the two guys, but you can see it really clearly here. People have also asked about having some sort of a clip at the top to hold the stone, and the engineers, here again, by design, didn't include a clip. We don't want to give anyone the false idea that a little clip could hold a 1,000-pound slab. If you're on uneven ground or there's a little gust of wind, the slab is going to be like a huge sail and just fall over. Look, this cart isn't magic, and if you were actually carrying the slab by hand, all your focus would be on that slab. You'd be hands-on and in control at all times, and that same level of attention is still needed with the Pro Lift. But the beautiful thing is, the Pro Lift is doing all the hard work and saving your back. Now, if you wanted to use the Pro Lift to load up your truck at the shop, you would essentially do all the same steps we just talked about, except in reverse order. Now guys, keep in mind this is not a comprehensive list of how to stay safe, and this isn't some OSHA reviewed and approved official video. These are just some tips for you and your crew to think about as you consider your safety. Ultimately, it's your job to stay safe, and if you're ever in doubt, don't do it, because confusion on the job site is gonna lead to injury. Now, I know this video is a little longer than usual pro reviews, but I hope it was useful and helps you apply these techniques with the Pro Lift to your own unique installations. Okay, be safe.